Hello, friends. This is Sam Chaney reporting for Weaponized News. Today, January 30th, 2026. Thank you for joining us on this Friday edition of Weaponized News, the last Friday in January of 2026. We have quite a bit of news breaking. They hit us with information overload today, especially a lot of news today, information overload. Stay warm out there. Stay warm. We're looking at another weekend of these crazy cold temperatures. Looks like it's geoengineered, some of it at least. However it may be, it's cold in the winter too, you know. Anyhow, stay warm out there. Most of the country is under freezing conditions right now. I'm in sunny Fresno, California. So stay warm out there. What do we got? We got a lot of news to cover today. The Trump administration launched they signed an executive order launching the first ever IndyCar race through the streets of Washington, D.C. And so we're getting plenty of bread and circuses here now. Are you not entertained? They're also going to have Ultimate Fighting. What is it? UFC, Ultimate Fighting Championship Challenge, whatever UFC stands for. The cage fighters, right? They're going to have them fighting on the White House lawn. And so you're going to see propaganda and just ridiculous bread and circus like we've never seen before to celebrate America's 250th anniversary. And the government is using all of that as a distraction away from all of their corruption and crimes against humanity and trying to sell you and I on, hey, just wrap yourself in the American flag and yeah, America. You know what I mean? And it's just, we're at the point here now. We're at the point where nobody gets in trouble, right? I think it was James O'Keefe post on the X last night. He's like, everybody wants to know why no one ever gets in trouble, no accountability. He said there's no money in it. Maybe that's true. Maybe that's true. Maybe there's no money in actually holding anyone in any position of authority accountable for anything. Let's get to all this news. So they announced that today. It looks like a bailout for Fox News or Fox Sports, all part of the same News Corp conglomerate. So it actually looks like a backhanded bailout for Rupert Murdoch. We'll cover that a little bit. Thankfully, we have Trump has nominated a new Federal Reserve chairman. You see, Kevin Warsh. Kevin Warsh. We're going to go over that and get to know Kevin Warsh a little bit. And it's extremely concerning who Kevin Warsh is. Trump's a great American populist, you see. America first, USA, USA, USA. That's why he's nominated Kevin Warsh, a former steering committee member of the Bilderberg Group. It gets worse than that. We'll cover it. We'll cover it here with old Kevin Warsh and the nomination for Federal Reserve Chair. We got economic news, insane precious metals markets. They're looking like meme coins. We'll cover that. The insane volatility in gold and silver. Big crash today. We're going to cover that. We got economic news. We got a lot of layoffs, man. Firings. I don't know why they always call them layoffs. It's like you didn't lay them off to come back to work later because the season's over. You fired these people. We'll go over this list of a bunch of firings, downsizing essentially, with workers being replaced by AI. We'll cover that. And then the Epstein files. Epstein files were released today, but there's still a bunch more, and so they're still dragging their feet. We'll go over some of the dirt in the Epstein files that were released today. We have more ICE reporting. Don Lemon, CNN, former CNN reporter, was arrested. He's been released with no bail, so I know everybody was hanging by their teeth on that one. They're like, oh my gosh, they're going to waterboard Don Lemon in a federal prison. No, it turns out he's out now without bail. So everybody can ease their troubled hearts about Don Lemon. What else do we got today? They're beating the war drums about attacking Iran. We need some major distraction from all these Epstein file revelations. We need a distraction away from the insane fraud they're doing in precious metals, that is the banks. And we have more Aardvark land genocide news today as well, as every day here at Weaponized News. Aardvark land's carrying out major airstrikes in Lebanon. But we're told there was a ceasefire. Bro, there's no ceasefire. The war there is escalating. Seems to be escalating as we await to see what's going to happen with Iran. Ruckus had predicted here, and it made a lot of sense. I think it was like 2 weeks ago that they'll go ahead and attack Iran over the weekend because Trump wants to manipulate the markets when they're not operating. Something like this, right, is the thinking behind it. So we'll cover all that and much more on this Friday edition of Weaponized News. We're very low today. Seems like not many viewers tuning in. Well, thank you to everybody who is tuning in. I'm going to get through all this news for you. Let's go to this day in history. We have quite a few events on this day in history. They were noticing all the way back in 1349, on this day of January 30th, Black Death Massacre. Aardvarks, except pregnant women and children, are burnt to death on suspicion of poisoning the community during the bubonic plague. They're in Western Europe, part of a wave of pogroms across Western Europe. So they were noticing way back then in 1349. In 1661, we saw Oliver Cromwell ritualistically executed after he was already dead, so they killed him twice. Oliver Cromwell, in 1661, Lord Protector of the Commonwealth of England, is ritually executed after having been dead for 2 years. They killed him twice. They liked him so much. Oliver Cromwell. Pirate attack. In 1698, English pirate William Kidd takes his greatest prize, the Indian merchant ship Quagdaw Merchant, upsetting English trade and causing a global manhunt. He pirated a pirate ship from the Indian merchant ship company there. William Kidd. In the year 1800, on this day, it was declared that the United States population was 5,308,483. And of that, African American population was counted at 1,002,037, or 18.9%. That's in the year 1800 on this day. In 1815, we saw Library of Congress burned U.S. Library of Congress reestablished with Thomas Jefferson's 6,500 volumes. In 1835, Richard Lawrence misfires at President Andrew Jackson in Washington, D.C. in the first attempted assassination of Andrew Jackson, the man who killed the central bank here in America one time. In 1873, on this day, we saw Jules Verne publish his novel Around the World in 80 Days. We've used that as a theme here, Around the World in 80 Days, a few times with Simon. In 1933, on this day, Hitler is appointed chancellor. President Paul von Hindenburg appoints Adolf Hitler as Reich Chancellor of Germany, who forms a government thereafter. In 1945, on this day, German passenger ship Wilhelm Gustloff torpedoed off of Danzig by a Soviet submarine, killing about 9,000 people, the world's greatest maritime disaster. In 1948, on this date, Muhammad Gandhi is assassinated in the garden of the New Delhi home he is visiting by Hindu extremists. In 1957, on this day, U.S. Congress accepts Eisenhower Doctrine, U.S. offer of aid to any Arab countries threatened with communist aggression. In 1960, on this day, the CIA okayed Lockheed Martin to produce a new U-2 aircraft, that spy plane, that U-2. In 1973, on this date, jury finds Watergate defendants Liddy and McCord guilty on all counts of conspiracy, burglary, and illegal wiretapping. In 1975, on this day, Erno Rubik applies for a patent for his magic cube. He's the inventor of Rubik's Cube. 1975. 1 year later, 1976, we saw George H.W. Bush become the 11th director of the CIA, later to become vice president and president of America. In 1992, on this day, the Age of Intelligence Machines inventor Ray Kurzweil published his first book, The Age of Intelligent Machines. That's 1992. We're there now. On artificial intelligence predicting the popularity of the internet. Old transhumanist Ray Kurzweil, 1992. In 2020, the World Health Organization declares COVID-19 a public health emergency of international concern at a meeting in Geneva. They kicked off the whole bat time on this day. Thank you very much. WHO. In 2024, just 2 years ago, former Pakistani Prime Minister Imran Khan, already in jail on corruption charges, sentenced to a further 10 years for leaking state secrets. I think, did we report on that at the time? Anyway, we've been following the Khan saga a little bit here at Weaponized News. And just a year ago, in 2025, former U.S. Senator Bob Menendez of New Jersey receives an 11-year prison sentence for his conviction of bribery while in office. Who did Bob Menendez piss off? Because why did they get him? You know what I mean? They're all guilty, all of your entire government, but they picked on old Bob Menendez. I remember reporting on this a year ago. And with that, let's take a look at the cold map. Do we have any segues to the news? Oh, this actress. I like this actress, by the way. Tragically, she's passed away at age 71, Catherine O'Hara. She's done a bunch of comedies. Home Alone, famously in Home Alone, and Best in Show. Bless her heart. She has passed away at age 71. Catherine O'Hara. She was with all those Canadians, Dan Aykroyd, John Candy, a whole bunch of these comedians during the 70s, 80s. And so, bless her heart. We'll miss her. Here's our segue to the news. Check out this propaganda from the White House. American speed, American power, American greatness. President Donald J. Trump just signed an executive order launching the first ever IndyCar race through the streets of our nation's capital, the Freedom 250 Grand Prix. So again, propaganda like you've never seen before, celebrating America's 250 years of war. Oh no, freedom, sorry. I get confused sometimes.
Turned up in a huge way this weekend. And it's quite simple. History.
We're in it to win it, bud. 10-4. 3, 2, 1.
And you can hear the crowd. History in the midst. Changes the game totally.
So you could clearly see that's all AI. That's right from the White House. Right from the White House. Here's the map, the cool map, the chill map. Stay cool, stay warm. I know you're staying cool because it's freaking cool, but stay warm there, America. In Minneapolis, they got real ice there, plus a bunch of feds, right? So anyhow, stay warm this weekend for sure. And I don't believe America's recovered from the last big storm, Winter Storm Fern, right? So stay warm this weekend for sure. Here it is, Freedom 250. August 21st through the 23rd, 2026. Freedom 250 Grand Prix of Washington, D.C. Is this some kind of backhanded bailout? Sure looks like it. Fox News CEO Eric Shanks said this project was kind of on life support until you stepped in talking to Trump. Everyone at Fox Sports can't wait to see exactly how this is going to unfold and bring it to life. So, Mr. President, thank you again for signing this today. Looks like some backhanded bailout of Fox Sports to me, but whatever. Freedom brawl, freedom. And who in America even likes Formula One racing? Like, it's not popular. They keep trying to ram soccer down our throat. This racing, like, I'm sorry, it's not popular, but you have to do money laundering and bailouts. So I guess that it works for that. On to the nominee for Federal Reserve Chairman. And so we're not getting the Fed abolished and the issuance of currency and credit put back under the Treasury Department. As is stated in the Constitution, we still have this private central banking cartel known as the Federal Reserve in control of issuing currency and credit. Let's take a look at the new nominee, as Trump has very publicly voiced his displeasure with Chairman Powell. They're currently constantly calling for him to lower interest rates. All the establishment loves this character, Kevin Warsh. Wall Street Journal opinion piece, Kevin Warsh is the right choice for the Fed. Really? We shouldn't even have a Fed, but I digress. Get to know Kevin Warsh. Kevin Warsh has an impressive record of leadership and experience, i.e., giant scams. He will be a strong chairman of the Federal Reserve and serve America with excellence. The Federal Reserve doesn't serve America. This is right from the White House. It doesn't serve our interests. It serves the private central banking cartel's interests. Let's get that straight, White House liars. More about him. Fed Chair nominee Kevin Warsh, currently a Shepherd Family Distinguished Visiting Fellow in Economics at Hoover Institute. That's at Stanford, right? Yeah, we can't go down those rabbit holes, but they're very dirty, to say the least, there. Currently a lecturer at Stanford Graduate School of Business, AB from Stanford, JD from Harvard Law, partner at Stanley Druckenmiller and Dequeasing Family Offices, LLC, issued an independent report to the Bank of England proposing reforms in the conduct of monetary policy in the United Kingdom, which the Parliament adopted. Wow, what a great achievement. Became the youngest Fed governor at 35 years old, served as a member of the Board of Governors of the Federal Reserve System, Board of Governors representative to the G20, and as the board's emissary to emerging and advanced economies in Asia, Board of Governors Administrative Governor, Special Assistant to the President for Economic Policy, Executive Secretary of the White House National Economic Council, member of Mergers and Acquisitions Department at Morgan Stanley, Vice President and Executive Director. So he has all of his establishment credentials in line, no doubt. We're going to get to know him a little bit better, though, here at Weaponized News. Here's what Trump had to say about the nomination. I am pleased to announce that I am nominating Kevin Warsh to be chairman of the Board of Governors of the Federal Reserve System. And they go through, and Trump goes through all of his, that's basically the same thing. They took Trump's tweet and made little memes out of it. Goes through his establishment credentials there. Turns out old Kevin Warsh is the son-in-law of Ronald Lauder and former steering committee member of the Bilderberg Group. We'll get to Ronald Lauder later in the program. and explain all these horrible connections. New Epstein files reveal that President Trump's newly nominated Federal Reserve Chairman, Kevin Warsh, is mentioned in a heavily redacted email sent to Jeffrey Epstein by an unknown individual because it's redacted. Warsh's name appears as a possible attendee at a party where children could have been harmed. The email lists St. Bart's as a possible location for the gathering, an island long associated with Jeffrey Epstein's social circle in the Caribbean. Trump to decertify all aircraft made in Canada and impose a 50% aircraft tariff unless Canada certifies American Gulfstream jets, part of the ongoing trade war. Trump sues the IRS and Treasury Department for $10 billion over leaked tax records. Trump two sons, Trump org sue IRS and Treasury for $10 billion over tax records leak. The plaintiffs seek at least $10 billion in damages, according to the lawsuit in Miami federal court. The IRS wrongly allowed a rogue, politically motivated employee to leak private and confidential information about President Trump, his family, and the Trump Organization to the New York Times, ProPublica, and other left-wing news outlets. A Trump legal team spokesman said. The economy is great, the greatest. Trump told us yesterday it's the greatest first year of a presidential administration in the history of this country. We're in the golden age. It's the greatest economy ever. Well, here's some job numbers. Recent layoff announcements, they say. I'd say firings because I don't think they're coming back ever. U.S. government, there's still over 2 million feds running around. U.S. government cut 307,000 employees. UPS, 78,000. Amazon, 30,000. Intel, 25,000. They don't need to worry. They got government took a stake in them. They're state-backed, i.e. fascists. What do they care? Nissan, 20,000 employees fired. Nestle, well, Nestle could burn in hell for all I care. And everybody that works there. Anyhow, 16,000 employees, and Microsoft too. Microsoft, 15,000 employees. Bosch, 13,000 employees. Dell, the great philanthropist, fired 12,000 of his employees. Verizon, 13,000 employees. Accenture, 11,000 employees. Ford, 11,000 employees. Nordisk, 9,000 employees. I don't know why Microsoft's on here twice. They doubled up with 2 firings. PricewaterhouseCoopers, 5,600 firings. Salesforce, 4,000 firings. IBM, IBM, they're still hanging around, right? The guys that put the serial numbers on the concentration victims of the Nazis. Oh, that IBM, yeah. They fired 2,700. American Airlines, 2,700. Paramount, 2,000. Target, 1,800. GM, 1,500. Applied Materials, 1,444. Kroger, 1,000. And Meta, 1,000. So, yeah. It's the greatest economy ever, bro. They're firing people all over the place, replacing these positions with AI at warp speed. Now let's look at this insane. We've never seen anything like this in precious metals. It's a once-in-a-lifetime event, it's being called. So gold, and don't hold me to it because it's very volatile and fluctuating. So I would say as of about, I don't know, this morning, 8 hours ago, gold was down 15%, silver down 38%. In the last 24 hours, 15 trillion with a T, 15 trillion wiped out from gold and silver. That's half the GDP of the United States gone in one day. We witnessed the first Sigma 10 event in financial history. Mathematically, this shouldn't happen in the lifetime of the entire universe. The biggest financial heist in history, people are calling this. And you can see the charts here. Here's the gold. It falls off a cliff, right? The crash of gold, and then silver as well here. Literally off, I mean, damn. But there's a problem. All this manipulation's in the paper markets. And so there is still demand for the real physical item for industrial manufacturing production of technology. And so we're having a major disconnect between US and Chinese markets. Silver price in the United States, according to the rigged up markets we have here, it's $85. Silver in China, $125. And so that needs to be reconciled. A premium of greater than $40 for 1 ounce of silver. That needs to be reconciled. Let me look at live time where we're at with this insane volatility. Again, a 10 Sigma event, never seen in our lifetimes. So today, and gold still fought back. Gold went back up. It lost big, right, as we explained there, but closed the day here in America at $4,895.18, and silver closed at $85.31. So still insanely went up there, but it was going off the charts, and they just couldn't have that because of all of their naked shorts and so on. Let's read this comment from Chris Martenson. I believe he is a respected analyst. Here now, he says silver and gold received big paper smashes yesterday and last night. Over the decades, the LBMA and COMEX, the two major trading platforms for precious metal, right, have proven that they are incapable of running a free and fair market. The last 24 hours are merely a continuation of those practices. So I think it's a shame when financial markets ruin themselves because they are vital to living in a prosperous country and having prosperous times. But it's worse than shenanigans by the banks. The same games have led to copper being badly underpriced, and we're due for a mega shortage in copper as well. Stocks also heavily manipulated, by which I mean their prices are set rather than discovered. That's key, right? Their prices are set rather than discovered by a free market price discovery mechanism, supply and demand. It's not how any of this is working. Do you have any other insights here? He said, do you ever wonder exactly how any of this, I didn't read it all to put it in context. Anyway, I think that was good context from him. He had a lot more to say, but I just wanted to talk about the precious metals in the stock market a little bit there, and that's key. The price discovery mechanism, we don't have it, right? Because the prices are fixed already by the banks, and so there is no free market capitalism, free market enterprise system going on here. It's all insanely rigged. So it's going to be a wild Monday, I expect. Okay, here's a clip from the Rothschild family, from Dame Hannah Rothschild. She says the Rothschild name walks into the room before anyone else, including politicians and kings. So she's saying they're above it all, you see. They're above it all.
When you were growing up, when did you become aware of the family success? I think it is fair to say that the name Rothschild walks into the room before you do. It comes with enormous history, quite a lot of gravitas, quite a lot of responsibility. And so I was aware at quite a young age about that, that this name was there. And it was very much instilled in me that there was a responsibility that went with that. So, if you have privilege, which I did from an early age, I had the responsibility to look after that, not to take it for granted, not to waste it, but to try and do something with it. So from a very early age, we were involved in our family charities. So, we were constantly said, listen, you're lucky enough to have this, you need to do that. When you were...
You see, they're great philanthropists, not the money changer evil bastards that everybody knows them as. The UN's crying today. They're saying that they're on the brink of imminent financial collapse due to Trump cutting funding, according to Secretary General of the United Nations, Gutierrez. I think they said their funding as it stands right now will last till like June or something, and then they're going to go bankrupt as Trump tries to create a new version of the United Nations, which is supposed to bring about world peace after World War II, right? And so they've completely and utterly failed at that mission. And so Trump's trying to build the peace board, some kind of quasi-international peace organization, but it's really for technocracy. So all of this is going on. They're building the technocracy right now. Huge unlock for accelerating energy and AI infrastructure in America. Take a look at this. The digital solutions coming out of the Permitting Innovation Center are going to move projects forward with greater speed and efficiency than ever before. And the direct result will be America's golden age, said Council on Environmental Quality Chairman Catherine Scarlett, permitting.innovation.gov. President of America, Trump, has given clear direction to leverage modern tech to expedite and simplify the permitting process. Today, the CEQ announced the launch of a pilot program for CE Works, a digital tool for agencies to apply categorical exclusions under NEPA with a goal to shorten project times. Everything is at operational warp speed here now as we're racing toward one world government agenda, UN Agenda 2030, the fighting factions. Who is going to control the new world order? Is it going to be the old world order or the new tech bro technocracy world order? Can they sort it out? Can they sort it out? Something tells me they're going to sort it out and leave all of us as a cannon fodder in this battle for world control. Continuing here, Trump's Department of Homeland Security buys industrial warehouses in at least 8 states to establish a large-scale mass deportation network. It's being reported, but the backside of this is these are FEMA camps built that can easily be repurposed for political dissidents. So just calm down. We're getting all the illegals. We're not. They're not. ICE buys warehouses for mass detention network. The Trump administration is acquiring industrial warehouses in at least 8 states to establish a large-scale immigration detention network. That's the cover. These prisons are for you and I. The detention centers, i.e. FEMA camps. Deed records confirm 2 purchases this month. They go through all the details. One in Maryland of a giant warehouse, 826,000 square foot building in Maryland, and a 418,400 square foot warehouse in Arizona. ICE plans to convert 23 industrial properties in total, each designed to hold between 1,500 and 10,000 people at a time for a combined capacity of 80,000. And they go through some more of them. Kansas City, 920,000 square foot facility. Additional locations ICE has tutored or expressed interest in are in New Jersey, Georgia, Florida, Virginia, other possible mass detention sites. Renovations outlined in agency documents include adding holding spaces, offices, visitor areas, cafeterias, bathrooms, medical units, pharmacies, religious service rooms, mail rooms, phone systems, law libraries with internet, attorney meeting rooms, indoor-outdoor recreation areas with basketball courts and exercise equipment. The plan follows a hub and spoke model. Migrants process briefly at booking centers, then move to these large-scale facilities to await deportation. Yeah, it all sounds well and good. I don't trust the government. I can see them easily turning this on you and I. Well, that's why they're actually building the whole thing, is for you and I. Let's be honest and stop being delusional MAGAs out there in the world. The Department of Homeland Security went on to say these will not be warehouses. They will be well-structured detention facilities meeting our regular detention standards. The Department of Homeland Security law enforcement is conducting law enforcement activities across the country to keep America safe. It should not come as news that ICE will be making arrests in states across the United States and is actively working to expand detention space. Trump's looking the other way, man, on employers of illegal aliens. He said that in the agriculture industry, in hospitality industry, and other industries. He's looking the other way. We're not going to get mass deportations. We are getting a giant network of federal prisons set up. Want to be a rat for the feds? You can call 866-DHS-2-ICE to report illegal aliens in your neighborhood, in your area. There you go. I will not be calling this because I'm not a rat, but I'm putting it out there because I'm reporting what these tyrannical feds are doing. So I will not be reporting because I'm putting this in my profile. Don't ICE me, bro, right? Don't ICE me, bro. I stand with ICE. I stand with Border Patrol. Don't ICE me, bro. They did a big, there was a big school walkout today in Fresno, California. All around the country, I suppose, but I saw it in my local area. High school students from Fresno High walked out in protest of ICE. Of course, the adults are using these children in public school as political props, and it is truly disgusting. But think about it, when you're a kid in school, they're like, hey, we're on a walkout. You're like, yeah, go illegals. You know what I mean? So anyhow, that's going on across the country. StopIce.net. Users warned your info was sent to the feds. And so there was this StopIce.net website and signal groups, all these different, chat groups they were using to coordinate. That's these Bolshevik left wingers, your hardcore agitators protesting ICE. But turns out they got hacked. Their website got hacked, stopice.net. And they're getting these alerts on their phones now. Your information has been compromised and sent to the authorities. Sherman Austin is not to be trusted and is a terrible coder. And they're talking about that's the admin, what do they call him? Webmaster, I guess you would call him, of stopice.net. And so they've been hacked, and all of these Bolshevik left-wingers' data has been compromised by the feds through getting hacked. A site called stopice.net is basically a giant group chat where people report ICE agents showing up. It has over 500,000 users and tools like live maps, license plate tracking, and a page for ICE workers to leak stuff. No names or photos of agents on the front page, but it's clearly made to help people avoid getting caught. Here's a screenshot of it. Don't go to the site. The feds are all over it. So that happened. Here's some giant protests. Here's a drone video of pretty big protests. It's freezing there. So huge crowd chanting and marching in the cold for today's nationwide anti-ICE push. These are protesters in front of the Whipple Federal Building in Minnesota. It's happening all over the country. No audio here, but you could see they turned out quite a few people there in the freezing cold. In the freezing cold. And similar scenes throughout the country. Here's old Blondie Bondi. I still am not going to release all the Epstein files to you. And what are they, 42 days in violation of the Epstein Transparency Act, releasing the files today. And they're still in violation of it because they haven't released all the files. Here's Blondie Bondi. Idiots hope they get paid good. I think most of them are there because they're true believers, honestly.
Make no mistake, under President Trump's leadership and this administration, you have the right to worship freely and safely. And if I haven't been clear already, if you violate that sacred right, we are coming after you.
And this is talking about the church raid there in Minnesota. They're so full of shit. Try being antiseptic. You know what I mean? Try saying, hey, maybe we shouldn't be genociding. They're like, you're antiseptic, you're done. So they're just so full of shit that their eyes are brown here now. Blondie Bondi went on to say, at my direction, early this morning, federal agents arrested Don Lemon. Remember they used to try to say, is his name Lemon or Lemon? Anyway, Don Lemon, everybody knows that clown from CNN. Tehran Jin Cruz, Georgia Fort, and Jamal Lyndall Lundry in connection with the coordinated attack on City's church in St. Paul, Minnesota. When life gives you lemons, Don Lemon arrested, the White House trolling Don Lemon there, Lemon. But don't you worry your troubled hearts out there, because he's already been released with no cash bail. So Don Lemon's doing just fine, but turns out he was charged with conspiracy to deprive rights, a violation of the FACE Act. And so there you go. A big conspiracy guy there, Don Lemon, along with the rest of these agitators. Here's some propaganda from Ice Barbie out of Department of Homeland Security. She says, this is who we fight for. I just don't find them genuine at all. And I think they're all a bunch of psychopaths. But here's the propaganda for your bleeding hearts out there that they care about the American people from Ice Barbie, Department of Homeland Security.
I don't want any other parent to live the nightmare that I am living. I am her voice now. Chestnut, juices flowing, wings twitch, legs are going down, get sentimental, it always ends up dribble one day. I am gonna grow wings, I can't let go reaction, hysterical, useless, hysterical.
And so, yeah, that's horrific. All the crimes that these illegals have committed against American citizens. But the federal government is simply not genuine in their concern. Sorry to tell everybody that here now. Minnesota Governor Tim Walz and Attorney General Keith Ellison will testify before the House Oversight and Government Reform Committee over alleged fraud in Minnesota, according to a report out of Politico, and nothing will happen. Luigi Mangione will face no death penalty, according to CNN. So they've taken the death penalty off the table in the Luigi Mangione prosecution. Here's they released 50%. Here's old ranking member Robert Garcia's statement. As Epstein Whitehouse cover-up continues, Department of Justice releases only half of Epstein files after months of defying Oversight Committee subpoena and Epstein Files Transparency Act. Here he is. Let's hear from Robert Garcia.
Look, I think a couple of things. One is obviously there's an enormous amount of documents that have to be reviewed, and obviously there's millions and millions of pages. But let's be really clear. What Todd Blanche actually said today was that essentially the Department of Justice was going to withhold about 50% of the files that they would not release for a variety of reasons. So they are basically saying that their investigation and their document production is over when half the files are still in their possession. And I'll remind the Deputy Attorney General that the subpoena that's been in place since the summer, which is separate of the law that Congress passed, there's no exemptions for ongoing investigations. There's no exemptions for internal discussion amongst department heads. And now we're seeing that survivors' names possibly are being are appearing in documents. We're seeing the mentions of Trump, and there are hundreds of mentions of President Trump that we're going.
They did a weird thing. They released some documents and then redacted them or deleted them and then put them back up again, playing games. The Clintons, Bill and Hillary, to be held in criminal contempt of Congress. Not hold my breath. Representative Comer said, we're going to hold both Clintons in criminal contempt of Congress because they had a subpoena issued for them to appear to testify to the House Oversight Committee, and they just shined it on. And so we'll see. No one's above the law. They beat us over the head with that. So we'll see. Again, here's the statement from Robert Garcia, ranking member of the Committee on Oversight and Government Reform, saying we only got half, or they're still holding half the Epstein files. Here's Ro Khanna on the Epstein files. Of course, him and Massey authored the Epstein Transparency Act. Let's hear old Ro Khanna. What's he got to say about it? Wait, let's see. What do they say? The survivors want a transparent release. If there's no cover up, this release should have the 302 statements and prosecution memos to show who these rich and powerful men were. That's essentially the gist of Ro Khanna's statement. Here are the files for those interested. 3.5 million responsive pages in compliance, but they're not in compliance, you see. And so they continue to lie to us. But here's the link. Just search this and you can find them. I don't want any of this crap even on my computer, honestly. I was like, do you want to download these? Nah, I don't. The link, so you can go download them if you want. You can easily search it up, or the link will be at Weaponized News Substack. I think I'm not going to download any of these files because it's CP, right? I mean, who knows? I don't want this. It just creeps me out. And it's just so dirty and disgusting and evil. DOJ, we covered that. The world's largest bank and the world's largest derivative holder and the world's largest silver rigger can be found in 62,756 documents related to the Epstein files. Not only that, but Jamie Dimon is in 276 documents, including personal emails back and forth with Epstein in 2013 after he testified under oath that he didn't even know Epstein. See for yourself. And it's all right there. You can go look if you feel brave enough. So JP Morgan Chase and Jamie Dimon implicated deeply in the Epstein files. Are they going to get in trouble? No. They should get in trouble for rigging the precious metals market, for all of their financial crimes committed against the American people. They won't. This one's pretty bad here. Onto the Epstein files. Allegations of ritual sacrifice, dismembered babies, and references to George Bush Sr. He couldn't have done anything wrong. He was the head of the CIA, right? A 2019 internal FBI email chain between the New York field office and the New York Police Department's Child Exploitation Task Force documents disturbing allegations from someone claiming to be an Epstein victim. The claims include ritualistic abuse on a yacht and an accusation against George H.W. Bush. Important context, the document labels this person a purported victim and notes they were brought in by someone the FBI describes as running a, quote, conspiracy-driven news website, unverified, but the facts this exchange exists in official FBI documents is concerning. Let's take a look. Again, this is from Epstein Dump Today. So you can see the redactions there. Interview of purported Epstein victim. Thanks, I didn't realize Bush raped him too. Okay. And here's the disturbing part. He was a victim of a type of ritualistic sacrifice in which his feet were cut off with a cimiter, but left no scarring. On the yacht, he witnessed babies being dismembered, their intestines removed, and individuals eating the feces from their intestines. He was also raped by George Bush. A victim depositions claim Epstein raped and attacked girls several times a day as part of a sick routine, treating it like scheduled abuse sessions. One survivor said it happened morning, noon, and night, with Epstein demanding sex multiple times daily. Email shows invite to 2015 Hillary Clinton fundraiser. Leslie Grofer is Epstein's longtime assistant, accused in lawsuits of helping schedule girls. She denies it. An email from her warding Epstein an invite to, quote, very intimate Hillary Clinton fundraiser at Cantor Fitzgerald on November 11, 2015, hosted by Howard Lutnick, our now sitting Commerce Secretary. They're all in it neck deep. All these bastards. It's all of them. It's all of them. It's all of them, you see. It's all of them. They're playing with this one. So they released this and then redacted it and then released it again. Where we got here? Here it is, the full release. So this is the one they were messing around with today, the Department of Justice. Are you able to send me? We need to interview regarding Alexander Brothers allegations. I guess we'll look at the highlighted parts. Those seem important. Reported an unidentified female friend who was forced to perform oral sex on President Trump approximately 35 years ago in New Jersey. The friend told Alexis that she was approximately 13 to 14 years old when this occurred, and the friend allegedly bit President Trump while performing oral sex. The friend was allegedly hit in the face after she laughed about biting President Trump. The friend said she was also abused by Epstein, spoke with a caller who identified as friend. Lead was sent to Washington office to conduct interview. At age 16, while modeling, caller attended 8 parties at Epstein's New York residence. On one occasion, caller reported she was sexually assaulted by Epstein. On another occasion, 2 twin brothers, Alan and Orrin, lured caller and her friend upstairs, but they escaped back downstairs. Caller stated Orrin raped her best friend, and a third brother, Tal, raped a 14-year-old girl. Caller named other individuals involved in big orgy parties with her, other young girls, and older Victoria's Secret models, including Bill Clinton and Donald Trump. Online complainant reported she was a victim and witness to a sex trafficking ring at the Trump golf course in Rancho Palos Verdes, California, between 1995 and 1996. Complainant reported Ghislaine Maxwell as the madam and broker for sex parties, clients of whom included Epstein, Robin Leach, and Donald Trump. Complainant reported participating in orgies and that some girls went missing, rumored to have been murdered and buried at the facility. Complainant reported being threatened by Trump's then head of security that if she ever talked of what went on there or who she saw, he would end up as fertilizer for the back 9 holes like the other cunts. Complainant claims to have video of high-profile sex parties, dealings with cartels, and having witnessed Robin Leach strangle a young girl to death at a party. Remember old Robin Leach, Lifestyles of the Rich and Murderous? Complainant reported his ex-girlfriends were victims of Epstein's, and one was murdered while working as a limousine driver. Complainant recalled picking up Donald Trump in 1995 to take him to Dallas-Fort Worth Airport. During the ride, complainant recalled some of the things Trump spoke about on his cell phone were very concerning and described being, quote, a few seconds from pulling the limousine over on the median and a few seconds of pulling him out of the car and hurting him due to some of the things he was saying. Complainant noted Trump repeatedly stated the name Jeffrey while on the phone. One of the complainant's ex-girlfriends told complainant Trump raped her, as did Epstein. Caller is talking about crimes committed against her. She claimed to be a prisoner. She referenced Lisa Marie Presley, the British royal family, President Trump, and Jeffrey Epstein. Complainant following up after a call with New York police officer regarding her previous tips, reporting that she was forced to perform sex acts when she was 13 years old and pregnant in 1984. Complainant also reported that there were high-profile individuals in her sex trafficking and murder and disposal of her newborn daughter. Complainant reported Donald Trump participated regularly in paying money to force her to perform sex acts with him, and alleged Trump was present when her uncle murdered her newborn child. Caller was taken by boat to Epstein Island. Caller said it was complicated and involved Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell. Caller became a school counselor and had a meeting with the school principal, Linda Kitts, and a police officer, where the caller was informed there were pictures of herself with Epstein. Caller reported the school was mad at her for not being a Trump person, and that the school wanted her to testify and say things against Andrew Cuomo. The FBI and Donald Trump were on the phone during the meeting. Caller believes the FBI has baby pictures of her with Epstein. Caller reported that in 1987, a friend, victim 1, was out drinking and ended up at Trump Plaza. Victim 1 saw Donald Trump and wanted to meet him. An unknown man approached her and offered to introduce her to Trump. The unknown man gave victim 1 a drink, and victim 2 woke up naked and sore with $300 on the bed. Victim 1 didn't remember how she got to the room. She remembered seeing a flash of Trump's face. Victim 1 called the caller and told her she thought she had been raped. Victim 1 did not go to the hospital to have a rape kit performed because she didn't think anyone would believe her, especially because she was drunk. Victim 1's husband's business had problems with suppliers, and victim 1 believed Trump was behind it. Victim 1 also started dating a lawyer, identifies unknown, who was married. Victim 1 had a fight with her lawyer boyfriend and went to a bar. Victim 1 left the bar with a man who no one in the bar recognized, but who seemed familiar to victim 1. Victim 1 was never seen again. A few years ago, remains were discovered that matched the description of what victim 1 was wearing when she went missing. DNA tests at the time were inconclusive. It goes on and on. In the interest of time, we're going to move on, but I'll post the link to this on again, off again document from the Department of Justice at Weaponized News Substack. Quite salacious allegations, you could say, to say the very least here, right? It goes on and on with these scenarios of drugging, raping underage, and murder. Wow. Wowzers. So Todd Blanche there at the Department of Justice, he said, just last year, the FBI located over 2,700 victims of child exploitation. The Department of Justice found and terminated 3.8 million dark web pedophile accounts. We executed Operation Restore Justice, rescuing 205 child victims and arresting 293 offenders. That's your run-of-the-mill, street level traffickers and rapers in all of this insanity. So yeah, the DOJ did release over 3 million records, pages, and 180,000 images and 2,000 videos from the Epstein files. New Epstein files confirm that Jeffrey Epstein wasn't just trafficking children, but torturing them, possibly to death. In an email Jeffrey Epstein sent to unknown person, because it's redacted, Epstein states, "I loved the torture video." See, they played this game. They did on again, off again for like 3-4 hours today. DOJ removes new Epstein list that mentioned Trump wild sex allegations. We just went over some of that. So they removed it, put it back up. Like, we covered that. Okay. What else do we got? Disturbing 2009 email from Epstein. I love the torture video. Here's the again. Where are you at? Are you okay? I love the torture video. I mean, it's just, it's like, this is evil, right? This is evil personified. Epstein files Prince Andrew. I think we already knew that. He's already been defrocked of his royal titles and kicked out and all this. They're all in on it. Okay, they're all in on it. So don't think that King Charles is some great humanitarian philanthropist. He's in on it. It's like all of these elitists are in on it. Prince Andrew accused of torturing trafficked girl. An unverified report says Prince Andrew tortured a girl who was trafficked by Maxwell during the 90s. The girl was allegedly promised a modeling job, then sold for sex and abuse. She later died, and the report links Prince Andrew to what happened. DOJ probed Maxwell for selling girl as torture slave. A girl was allegedly recruited by Maxwell in the 90s for, quote, modeling and never seen again, claims she was trafficked, tortured, and killed. Epstein claimed Trump visited his house many times, but never got a massage. A little bit of cover there for Trump in this email. Here it is. So he went there many times, but never got a massage, you see. And this is with Michael Wolff, right? That he wrote that book about Trump, trying to expose him. And what's up with Michael Wolff? He was hanging out with Epstein quite a bit as well. In 2017, Jeffrey Epstein dropped $50,000 to a group honoring Howard Lutnick. Yeah, that same Howard Lutnick. We've been covering old Lutnick on the show. and all of his wrongdoings. So it turns out old Lutnick is all tied up in this as well. Well, wouldn't you know? When you know, Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick planned trip to Epstein Island. He was Epstein's neighbor. So Epstein files video of naked young girls in the documents. We're not going to show that to you, but again, you can go take a look at the files and see these twisted videos and emails yourself. Trump invited Epstein to Mar-a-Lago after banning him. Apparently, a 2012 email says Epstein was planning a trip to Mar-a-Lago after Christmas, years after Trump said he had banned him from Mar-a-Lago in 2003. Remember the whole Trump is the good guy in all this. He didn't know that any of this was going on, and he was working as an FBI informant, and he actually helped expose all of this. That's the bullshit MAGA, fake cover story that they've had out there for years here now. When people started going, wait a minute, Trump's all over this Epstein stuff. They're like, no. Trump's a great Christian who's actually a dark occultist, but they leave that part out. He's the good guy in all this, you see. And it turns out, not so much. Not so much. And did we ever even think anything different? You know what I mean? FBI report citing a confidential human source released in the final in this current batch of Epstein files said Trump has been compromised by Israel. Here's that document. CHS believed Dershowitz was co-opted by Mossad. Oh, you think? Epstein's lawyer? And then CHS advised that this was a real collusion story. Trump has been compromised by Aardvark Clan, and Kushner is the real brains behind his organization and his presidency. Like I say, we voted for Kushner. Like I've been saying, we voted for Kushner, you see. We voted for Kushner. Robin Leach, we covered that, alleged to have murdered a woman there. And those are some, well, here's some more. Let's see, a new, a veteran, Matthew Hitzink, a veteran crisis and reputation manager with deep political and celebrity ties, serving as Hillary Clinton's director of Aardvark relations during her 2000 Senate campaign, later advising on public image for figures like Ivanka Trump and Nicole Shanahan. He has also handled reputation for, and they name all these celebrities. Anyway, this character is in there as well, right here. Matthew Hiltzink would like to call you and is asking for a good number to reach you. Okay, and that's from Epstein to him, looking to salvage his reputation after, what year was this? After being convicted as a sex offender there in Florida. That was 2017. So basically a PR guy to spin, oh yeah, you're a good guy. That's probably where the whole Trump is a FBI informant turning in the trafficking network out of Mar-a-Lago. That's probably from one of these PR spin is where that came out of, I'm sure. New Epstein files show that tech bro Elon Musk, Mr. Technocracy, censoring the hell out of us on X, lying to our face, scam after scam from Elon Musk. Elon Musk was in communication through email with Epstein in 2013 after Epstein was a convicted sex offender. In the email, Musk Is there a good time to visit? Epstein, I will send a heli for you. Musk stated in exchange that he would be in the British Virgin Islands area over the holidays. The British Virgin Islands are about 15 minutes from Jeffrey Epstein's Little St. James Island of now infamy. Musk had previously claimed that he and Epstein had never interacted. Just take your brain chip, bro, because he cares about the cripple kids, you see? And then what else did we got? We got Bill Gates, our doctor, during the bat time. Turns out our doctor during the bat time had problems with, he got STDs from Russian prostitutes, discussed here in emails, and he was asking Epstein for antibiotics and how he could sneak his then wife, Melinda Gates, these antibiotics because she may be at risk from contracting sexually transmitted diseases from Bill Gates that he got from Russian prostitutes. Here's that exchange. He subsequently divorced them. I'd say this is probably a big part of it. Well, their cover was he was sexual harassing Microsoft workers or something like that, right? If I can remember correctly. And Epstein wasn't. They're like, she knew. His wife knew damn well. You know what I mean? Jeffrey Epstein says Bill Gates caught sexually transmitted disease from Russian girls, then suggested secretly slipping Melinda Gates antibiotics. We covered that. Okay. That's all about all of the Epstein half-released files that we have for you today. And we're past the hour mark, so let me take my live commercial break here. Everybody go to weaponizednews.com. We have the holograph sticker there, the white background sticker, and the clear sticker. This one's getting pretty old. All three stickers, you can see. Can you see that? There you go. Anyway, you'll get a brand new one. Go to weaponizednews.com. 3 different stickers. We have a bunch of offerings at our store. Weaponized News hats with the logo on it, the classic Weaponized News logo. We have custom t-shirts there, coffee mugs, Weaponized News t-shirts in the classic black, a bunch of other items at our store. The link is in the description below this video, Weaponized News shop right down there. Give us a browse. We appreciate it. We take donations. There's a secure donation link on the front page of Weaponized News, PayPal donations. We take those. We take Buy Me a Coffee, Cash App, Bitcoin wallet address, all in the description below this video. We appreciate all of the subscribers on all the different platforms. Thank you very much for your support. We do need more support. Give me that like, share, subscribe, push that notification button. Even that costs you nothing. However you may choose to support it, it is greatly appreciated by me and everyone else that contributes to Weaponized News. Truly, we truly do appreciate it. That like, share, subscribe, give us that share, help us battle through this insane censorship. We had what, a couple days ago, a YouTube commenter say that, oh yeah, they have the share, or they have the subscribe notification, that little bell, right? They're like, we got it all. And they're like, we don't get notified when you go live on YouTube, right? And I'm like, well, par for the course over here at Weaponized News. So that's why we need your help to spread the word about the broadcast. And we do appreciate, again, all the subscribers, patrons to the store. Thank you very much. Give us that share. Give us that share. Okay, enough with that. Back to the rest of the news we got to cover here for you today. Welcome back to the second half of Weaponized News on this January 30th, 2026 edition. Here's propaganda released by the Department of War yesterday, or 2 days ago, I believe. We didn't have time to play it. We're going to play it today as the war drums and saber rattling for an attack on Iran are getting crazy, and we just may see that over the weekend. Here's the Department of War propaganda. As too, by the way, I don't see many other people reporting on it. The Department of War over the last 2 weeks has admitted and is now bragging about the fact they're using directed energy weapons in attacks in Venezuela. I mean, it's insane, right? I don't see many people reporting on it, and it's pretty damn insane to me that this has all come out and it's publicly acknowledged by the Department of War, and they're bragging about it, posting memes of drones getting zapped by lasers. That was a thumbnail yesterday.
We will not back down. We will forge the new arsenal of freedom with our partners in industry and the private sector. We believe the future will be shaped by those who lead in technology and innovation. We don't believe, we know. Those who fervently believe in freedom and the Western tradition, like we do, must be those leaders. In other words, to our enemies, F-A-F.
Seriously, that's the Department of War who's tasked with, blowing stuff up and killing people, and they're throwing this out there still. I mean, come on, dude. Fuck around and find out, seriously. Dude, we're gearing up. We're gearing up for major war. All the signs are there. So they got another one of but they didn't whack them. So, hey, this is how you should probably go about doing it. I guess we say that all this, we own all this, right? That's what we say here. In America, we own all this, right? And so the U.S. Coast Guard got another one of these alleged narco traffickers. They didn't whack them this time. They arrested them. So at least maybe they can get due process. Here's the Coast Guard post about it. They say, defending America through Operation Pacific Viper, earlier this week, a crew of Coast Guard cutter interdicted a go-fast vessel off vessel northwest of Ecuador, following an airborne use of force stop by Coast Guard Hitron. 3 suspected narco terrorists apprehended, 4,400 pounds of cocaine seized, 33, Ruckus, are you out there in the audience? $33 million plus in illicit drugs stopped at sea before reaching our border. Okay, that's all well and good. At least they arrested them and didn't just whack them and execute them extrajudicially. So maybe we're improving a little bit on that. I don't know. That's a Coast Guard, though, right? So that's not the Southcom. Southcom just whack you. Coast Guard a little bit more liberal about extrajudicial assassinations, it appears. Okay. The United States and Argentina are in advanced talks on a deal that would allow the United States to deport migrants from other countries to Argentina. They're building another one of these giant supermax prison camps like they have in El Salvador. They're going to build another one in Argentina here now. According to the New York Times, the agreement would make Argentina a third country designation for people designated after entering the United States illegally as part of Trump's expanded deportation strategy. Or maybe you and I can be flying to a CIA black site for torture and execution for simply reporting on Epstein files or whatever the hell these maniacs say is going to trigger them today. You know what I mean? That's where we're at. Seriously. More geopolitical news. This is big, actually. Panama's Supreme Court ruled that a Hong Kong company's contract to run the ports on both ends of the Panama Canal is unconstitutional, advancing Donald Trump's Monroe Doctrine to block any influence by China over the strategic waterway, according to the Associated Press. So it's that's a big freaking deal right here, right here. That's a big deal coming out of Panama. Germany's unemployment rate has hit a 12-year high as the country's economy is collapsing under the rule of former BlackRock chairman Merz. Only the state still creates jobs there in Germany, and many say they did not see this coming, but I kind of did. So yeah, Europe not doing so well here now, are they? Syrian government announces comprehensive agreement to integrate Kurdish-led SDF, and we went through some of that yesterday. There's like so many spin-off groups in different countries, and it's honestly hard to keep track, but there is ongoing civil strife there in Syria. Hopefully they can get some type of a peace deal going on there with all these different factions fighting for control. The Syrian government reached an agreement today with the Kurdish-led Syrian Democratic Forces, the SDF, for a ceasefire and comprehensive deal to integrate the military and administrative forces of the two sides. We'll see. We'll see how this sorts out. Hopefully they do have peace there in Syria. They've been through an awful lot, the people there in Syria, as with everybody there in West Asia, right? It's just been never-ending war and carnage and genocide and civil war, and it's been quite horrific. Hopefully Al-Qaeda, ISIS, al-Shara, self-appointed president of Syria, and his team there, his administration, can bring an end to the fighting in Syria. This is actually some good news, I would say. He had to say, al-Shara, a wonderful young man, according to Trump, right? He's a good-looking young man. But just last year, you were saying you want his head. He's a internationally wanted terrorist. You know what I mean? They're like, oh, he trimmed his beard up a little bit. He's a fine, upstanding young man now. Anyhow, al-Shara said, here now, well, let's put the post up there. A year has passed since I shouldered the responsibility of the presidency of the Syrian Arab Republic. In it, I recall the sacrifices of the Syrians and their patience in all fields, and I ask God to be worthy of this trust. The future we will build together with firmly rooted justice and lasting stability and comprehensive development that restores Syria to its position and fulfills the aspirations of its people. Let's hope so, man. Let's hope they can have some peace there in Syria. Probably not, though. I mean, it's not looking good for West Asia. All right here, right? All right here. It's not looking good. U.S. reportedly warned allies Trump might hit Iran as soon as this weekend. That goes with ruckus theory that they're going to try to do it. But I don't think this is going to be a one and done like the last one, right? This is going to be, well, Iran's saying this is going to be the big one. So senior U.S. officials allegedly warned a major Arab ally in West Asia to get ready. They said Trump could greenlight strikes on Iran's nuclear sites. I thought we already blew them up. Apparently not. Military targets and the what are they called? Iranian Republican National Guard, whatever, you know, the guy. What the hell are they called? The Iranian Republic, the IRGC. You guys know who I'm talking about. The group doesn't. It's basically Iran's army, right? Designated as a terrorist organization by the EU. Anyhow, the goal, ending the Iranian regime, although we have no independent confirmation, and CENTCOM declined to comment as expected, right? CENTCOM is not going to say, yeah, I think about, 11:57 Saturday night, we're going to go ahead and whack Iran. You know what I mean? That's just not going to happen, which is understandable. Trump, when asked today, Trump said, Iran wants to make a deal. Really? CENTCOM message to Iran. And so an FA-18E Super Hornet attached to Strike Fighter Squadron 151 launches from the flight deck of the USS Abraham Lincoln while conducting routine flight operations in the Arabian Sea. Abraham Lincoln is deployed to support security and stability within the Middle East region. Again, look at old CENTCOM's logo. And as it says in the Constitution, this is where we police, right? West Asia. Of course, it doesn't say that. I'm saying it, of course, sarcastically. But anyhow, yeah, right here. This is all of our responsibility somehow, some way. I think we know why. But I digress. The Treasury Department, U.S. Treasury Department, today, Treasury Office of Foreign Assets Control took additional action against Iranian officials responsible for the regime's brutal crackdown on its own people. We're still going with that propaganda line, as again, it's been thoroughly exposed, I think, that this was a Western backed color revolution style protest, along with organic protest because of the poor economic conditions in Iran, aided by Western intelligence that led to all of the insane violence we saw over the last couple of weeks there. And also the Iranian regime are not nice guys as well. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not going to give them a pass in any of this. And the poor people are the ones that suffer, as per usual. The poor Iranians. Today, they go on to say today's targets include Iran's Minister of Interior, who oversees the entity responsible killing thousands of peaceful protesters, and a criminal investor who embezzled oil revenue that rightfully belongs to the Iranian people, and two regime-linked digital asset exchanges. So we care so freaking much about the Iranian people. You know what I mean? It's just really. So, and we've already launched, we're in a war with Iran. Okay, so all of these sanctions are an economic act of war. It just hasn't gone 100% hot yet, but we're getting there. We're getting there again, to blow up Iran's nuclear program again. Okay, where are we at? Still got a little bit to go. Let's see, CENTCOM. More from CENTCOM. That's U.S. Central Command, the military there in West Asia. It says we run this area, basically, because we have to control the trade routes for the Anglo-American establishment, so on and so on. I digress. CENTCOM yesterday sent a message to Iran saying, yesterday Iran announced that the Islamic Revolutionary Guard, that's the guys I couldn't remember their full name, basically Iran's military corps, right? Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, IRGC, is conducting a 2-day live fire naval exercise. We talked about that in the Strait of Hormuz, scheduled to begin Sunday. Central Command urges the IRGC to conduct the announced naval exercise in a manner that is safe, professional, and avoids unnecessary risk to freedom of navigation for international maritime traffic. So you can see how They're launching war games there. America's has a bunch of ships over there. There's a bunch of commercial traffic trying to go back and forth. So this thing's look, it's getting very tense, very fast. All right here, right? All right here. Right here. Getting very intense, very fast. Iran has said they will shut down the Strait of Hormuz upon attack. And that will kill all the shipping right through here, right? Okay. Where's Russia on all this? Well, Russia military products were supplied to more than 30 countries worldwide over the past year, with revenue exceeding $15 billion, Putin said in a statement today. But not to be left behind, U.S. is like, well, we arm the world too, and there has to be ongoing conflicts everywhere because the munition makers and the military industrial complex and the technocracy have to be profitable beyond anyone's wildest dreams, and we have a bunch of depopulation to do as well. So Washington, right? The Pentagon's like, don't leave us out. Washington has approved, or I guess it's Congress now. Washington has approved over $6 billion in new weapon sales to aardvark land, including attack helicopters, armored vehicles, military trucks, and upgrades for troop transport units. And that was just yesterday. Okay, we're going to tie it all back together here now about our new nominee for Federal Reserve chairman. I guess it's just chair. Kevin Warsh. Turns out there's more to the story. So we're really getting to know him. He has great, impeccable establishment credentials. We went over those. But turns out Ron Lauder, president of the World Aardvark Congress, is demanding every nation adopt severe laws to jail their citizens for speech he deems antiseptic. Well, old Ronald Lauder is actually the father-in-law of Kevin Warsh. You see? It's all tying together. Let's play this clip of this maniac. Ron Lauder.
All world leaders, all politicians must lead in this effort. Words are not enough. Political speeches are not enough. Laws must be passed, severe, tough, real laws that will put these hate mongers away in prison for a long time.
That's the father-in-law. That's Ron Lauder. Again, president of World Aardvark Congress, father-in-law of Kevin Warsh, who will probably be confirmed as your new Federal Reserve chair. Don't be antiseptic, because once we get in the tokenization of everything, the stable coin, they're just going to turn it off. Oh, you don't like genocide? Boom. Mark of the beast on you. You can't buy and sell. And we're going to put you in one of these FEMA camps, i.e. immigrant detention centers. And you'll be deported to El Salvador, Argentina, or some other CIA black site. That's where all this is going. That's where all this is going. Here's Ambassador Mike Huckabee, Christian Zionist ambassador, where he pays tribute to the late Zevit Jamtinsky, founder of the Irgun terrorist group who bombed the King David Hotel there. We've covered that when it was when on this day in history when it happened. I think we've covered it a few other times to say how peaceful all these terrorist aardvarks actually are, blowing up the King David Hotel. Example number one there. Huckabee says aardvark land was formed 3,800 years ago, and he supports aardvark land because the Bible supposedly says those who bless aardvark land will be blessed, and those who curse aardvark land will be cursed. And he doesn't want to be cursed. It does not in any way shame me or cause me to be reticent to say I'm a Zionist, he declares. Well, here he is. Here he is, telling on himself. Yeah, you're gonna face judgment, Mike Huckabee. I wouldn't want to be there. I wouldn't want to be you.
I can think of nothing that is more appropriate in honoring Zeb Jabotinsky than to think of him in his terms of here was a person who not only had an extraordinary hope for the Zionist movement that would result in the restoration of the Jewish nation. Notice I said restoration, because it was not the formation. That had been done 3,800 years ago. When God said to Abraham in this very city, on Mount Moriah, this is your land. I brought you here for this purpose. And the world will be blessed through you. And he gave a commission that those who bless Israel will be blessed. But then a warning. And those who curse Israel will be cursed. I've lived my life by that simple understanding that it is much better to be in the target of God's blessing than in the target of God's curse. Therefore, it does not in any way shame me or cause me to be reticent to say, I'm a Zionist. Now, some people find that word troubling, offensive even. Most recently, some people even have said things that those of us who aren't Jewish, but who are Zionist, that maybe we have a brain virus. I think what we have is the good sense to realize it's better to be on God's side of history than the other side of history.
It's just simply not, what he's saying is disconnected from reality. They're committing an ongoing genocide right now. And so if you believe in any way, that's not my God. That's this Christian Zionist God. That ain't my God. That's saying, oh, you're blessed for genociding these people. Straight up. He's praising a freaking terrorist that blew up a hotel there. These are religious, fanatic, dangerous people, to say the very least. And he's talking about two different gods. The aardvark God is not the same Christian God of your Bible. Here's aardvark settlers spit on the entrance of a Christian church in occupied Jerusalem. They walk by and spit, and they spit on Christians all over the Holy Land as well. Yeah, and if they saw a Christian there, they spit on them too. As per their Talmud. Apple buys secretive aardvark facial recognition surveillance startup company, Q.ai. Pretty creepy. pretty creepy. Over the past 24 hours, southern Lebanon came under 21 aardvark attacks across 12 villages, among them 12 airstrikes, 6 drone operations, heavy artillery shelling, gunfire, and naval firing. They're blowing the hell out of Lebanon right freaking now under an alleged ceasefire agreement, as we continue to report. USAID, right, warned Biden administration that northern Gaza was an apocalyptic wasteland. Cable show. In early 2024, United States Agency for International Development staff drafted a warning for senior officials in Joe Biden's administration, stating that northern Gaza had become a quote apocalyptic wasteland, facing severe shortages of food and medical supplies. The internal message sent 3 months after the October 7, 2023 attack by Hamas detailed the scenes observed by UN staff during a 2-part humanitarian fact-finding mission in January and February. The staff reported encountering a human femur, it's your big bone in your leg, right? And other bones on the road, dead bodies left in cars, and catastrophic human needs, particularly for food and safe drinking water. However, the U.S. ambassador to Aardvark land, Jack Lew, and his deputy, Stephanie Hallett, prevented the cable from being distributed more widely within the U.S. government, believing it lacked balance, according to interviews with 4 former officials and documents reviewed by Reuters. Apocalyptic wasteland. There you go. They're bombing the hell out of Lebanon. Still ongoing. It's just ongoing. There's no ceasefire. The genocide's ongoing. We're getting close to calling Lebanon a genocide, I think, at this point. That's all the news we got on this Friday. Thank you for joining us. Let's go to the channels quickly. Let's take a look at Odysee. See how the chat's going there. We have a few. I always see Clyde Dog, but then I miss him again. So shout out to Clyde Dog, John, Gurr, Highland, quite a few over there, and Danger Dog as well. Some of the stuff I can't say, but I do enjoy the comments there. Let's see here. Yeah, it's a blackmail circle jerk ring, right? They're all blackmailing each other. They're all dirty. They're all just disgusting criminals beyond our even imagination, because we're not evil. They are. And so it's hard to even put yourself in the mindset of these psychopathic, dark occultist, raping, murdering maniacs. It is so transparent and absorbed because they are speaking to the dumbest they can. Yeah. Yeah. Unabomber Kaczynski warned. It's from John on Odysee. He says Kaczynski warned about the world ahead without dignity or worth. Indeed. Indeed. Gurr says the UN shipped them all out and then torpedoed the ship. Hey, Rockefeller, that's a Rockefeller donated building in New York, man. Come on. Come on, we can't mess with that. Highland said, Melania, the greatest movie ever, free tickets for livestock. Oh, man. And then Danger Dog said, I can't even say it here, but yeah, I agree with you there, Danger Dog. I agree with you. All right. Thank you, guys, for keeping that chat lively and tuning in on Odysee. Appreciate it. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in on X, Kick, Twitch, Facebook, Rumble, and YouTube. And that's all we got for today. I'm sure a lot more with what over 3 million documents. So I forget even all the, just a massive amount of Epstein data, right? And that's only half of it. And so there's still a lot to go through here now. Let's pray for peace there in Syria, all West Asia area here now, that we don't kick off a war with Iran this weekend. Let's pray for peace. Let's pray for peace here now. It's not looking good. It looks like they're going to do a major war to distract us from all of their corruption, from Epstein's to all the frauds, to police brutality, to police murders, to the fact they're building a technocracy, giant police state with prison camps, FEMA camps everywhere, to distract us from all that domestically. It sure feels like right now, and the other worldly crimes being committed in the financial markets, it sure feels like to take our mind off all that, which would be just, hey, we got a hot war going on with Iran. You know what I mean? It's like we're like right there. All the signs are pointing toward it. And what his old Gerald Celente always says, when all else fails, they take you to war. It's looking like we're like right there right now. So let's pray for peace this weekend. Everybody stay warm out there. Please stay warm as another snowstorm's forecast to come in across most of the country. It's very cold. Stay warm out there. And we'll see you back here Monday. As always, everybody do your own research, peace, love, and freedom. Speak out and take action. Have a great rest of your Friday evening and weekend. We'll see you back here on